On air, online, and mobile.
Boston Connects with Michael Graham. Afternoons 3 to 7 on News Talk 96.9.
On the phone with an update on how the storm affected his future district, his Republican candidate for Congress, Christopher Sheldon. Chris, welcome back to News Talk 96.9.
Michael, thank you so much for having me on. We had an exciting day yesterday, but I don't believe that this district is frozen. I think people have picked up the pieces, and they're moving back in the same direction they were moving before.
Well, as long as Lorenzo's didn't get wiped off the map, we'll be fine. Is Lorenzo still there?
Is just fine. Really, to your point about the storm, I've been around the district all day today. Been in touch with NSTAR, been in touch with National Grid. We had some areas on the South Shore that were hard hit, like Pembroke, Hanson, and Hanover had some outages. On the South Coast, Dartmouth and Fall River and Westport had some outages, and out on the Cape, Falmouth had some outages. But otherwise, the rest of the district, less than 10% without power. We did see some erosion and storm damage, especially to the seawalls and along the coast. But people are getting back to their lives and getting back to the races. I saw folks putting the yard signs back out this morning. We had a great volunteer out in Carver, so I want to thank Paul for getting out there. But we're moving back in that direction. And, you talked about outside of Massachusetts. Governor Romney has a ton of support down here in the 9th Congressional District. I think he has a serious chance of winning this district. And of course, that's going to help a lot of our local races that you talked about. It's going to help U.S. Senator Scott Brown, and I think it's going to help my race as well against Bill Keating.
We're talking to Chris Sheldon, candidate for Congress down the 9th District. You haven't had enough scandal yet to break through in the media coverage. If we're not talking about Liz Warren's, non-law degree and her fake Indian heritage, we're talking about Congressman Tierney's family's gambling problems, et cetera. How is your race looking down on the Cape?
If you'll forgive me, we have had a scandal, and it really just hasn't received enough coverage. The state crime lab scandal has been tied directly to the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. It's been tied to Representative Keating, and while he was a district attorney there, the Boston Globe came out about a week and a half ago and was talking about how his prosecutors under his watch were circumventing protocol and going directly to the crime lab technician when they shouldn't have been doing that. And so, there are scandals going on here, and unfortunately, folks have been much more caught up with those races. But in this district, the people are very well aware of this race. Mm-hmm. We're gathering momentum every day. We've seen polling numbers that have Representative Keating well below 50%, down at 43%. Still a lot of undecideds, a lot of people that need to come out and make up their mind. We urge them to go to electsheldon.com to learn more about the race. But there's a lot of excitement for all of our Republican candidates down here in the South Shore, South Coast, Cape and Islands.
One last question. We're once again talking to Chris Sheldon, Republican running for Congress down in the 9th District. The issue that people are talking about most on the Cape. Massachusetts, the economy hasn't been in quite as bad a shape as the rest of the country. Is jobs the number one issue on the South Coast and on the Cape, the same place around the country, or are there other issues bumping up?
No, well, there's certainly other issues, and this is a district that has three distinct regions. So we have the South Coast area with the Fall River, New Bedford, manufacturing, one of our old manufacturing cities. We have the South Shore, which is largely a Boston suburb area, and then, of course, we have the Cape and Islands, which is, heavy with tourism, heavy with the service industries. And so, of course, they have their own issues specific to those regions. But the economy and jobs are number one, no matter where you are in this country, because of how dismal the record has been with President Obama and the administration for the last couple of years. It's important to the Cape specifically because if people don't have jobs, if they don't have disposable income, if they're struggling to get by, then they can't take a vacation to Cape Cod, and that's what we want them to do. So the economy matters to everybody, and especially in this district, and that's what I talk about. I talk about getting the debt and deficit under control. I talk about reducing regulations so that our businesses, especially our small and medium-sized businesses, can succeed, reforming the tax code, and most of all, repealing Obamacare and getting our health care costs under control, because Obamacare did nothing to help our health care costs.
And, Christopher, you just made a really good point that when people think about Massachusetts and that the fact that President Obama is likely to carry the Commonwealth, obviously, but you make a point that in your district, it's a very competitive race, and you could actually win the congressional district for Mitt Romney. You could certainly help Scott Brown. That's his backyard, and he's counting on a big turnout down there. And then while you're there, you vote for Chris Sheldon and try to bring something resembling resembling a two-party system to Massachusetts. So it's a win-win-win.
You're absolutely right. This is an important district. It is the most conservative in the state, and those aren't my words. Those are Representative Keating's words, that this is the most conservative district in Massachusetts. We need to do well in this race to support Senator Scott Brown. We absolutely can get that done. One last time, I'd like to encourage people to go to electsheldon.com, learn more about the race, see how you can volunteer, see how you can donate, and see how you can support so many of our great candidates down here in southeastern Mass.
Chris Sheldon, thanks so much for your time, and thanks for joining us here on News Talk 96.9.
Thank you, Michael. You have a great day.
News Talk 96.9.